Okay, welcome to Snappy's webinar, how to convert PDFs you already use into apps. I'm basically going to run you down the process of converting a PDF that you already use in your company into an app that you can use on your phone. And there's a couple reasons to do that. I think the biggest reason, the one that attracts the most people to us, is that you can get rid of paper. So instead of having to take your paperwork around you on the field, or if you're using it around the office even, doesn't really matter. You can have it on your phone, your tablets, your computers even now. So there's a lot of benefits to doing it, and it's pretty easy to do. So I'm going to show you really quick how to do that. First things first, you want to go to our website, and and if anybody has questions, I'll answer them at the end. Just makes things a little bit smoother. So just hold off on your questions till I get to the end. I'll let you guys know. Alright, so first off, you want to go to our website. Obviously, if you haven't made an account yet, you want to go ahead and do that. You just need to provide some information, job title, company. Really, the email is the most important part, though. So once you do that, though, you can go ahead and log in. And it's going to take you to kind of like an account management screen. So depending on if you've used an app with us before, the screen is going to look a little bit different. You're going to have an extra option that says My Apps. I just cleaned up all my apps, so that option's not here, but normally you would see another option there that says My Apps. So anyways, this is the main screen. You can go into your profile to change some of the information that you signed up with if you need to. And yeah, the other stuff is pretty self-explanatory. Obviously, if you think that creating an app yourself is a little bit daunting, you probably want to just order a custom app. We do it for very cheap compared to other app shops, so it's still, I would think, a viable option, especially if you're going to be using this this app or piece of software extensively. But let's get on with it. What you want to do first is go to create a new app, and then you're going to have three options here. So I'll run you down the differences. Form Builder is actually where we're going to be spending most of our time, but we're going to access it through the App Builder because it gives us a little bit more options on what we can do. And of course, I'll show you how to do all that. The Guru App Builder is a little bit more advanced in that it's more malleable, so you can customize it a little bit more and add connectors to certain softwares that you're normally not able to do in Express. So what I mean by that is, like, say your accountant needs some sort of integration with QuickBooks. You can't do that in Express. Express is kind of set in the way you can do things, but Guru is a little bit more robust in that you can go into the back end and kind of adjust things to make connectors into QuickBooks and to other programs that you might use. I'm just using QuickBooks as an example, but there's a bunch of different ones that we do, like connections to like blog websites or social media and whatnot. But for our purposes, we're going to go into the App Builder. Again, you can use the Form Builder if you want. The App Builder just gives you a little bit more options, and I think it'll be useful for most people. Second to load. Alright, so first thing I like to do when I get into this screen is just hide the menus, and it'll go ahead and hide the top and bottom menus. I also like to exit out of the webinar thing since we're in the webinar. So what this is asking you to do here is basically we have a bunch of different templates that go over almost every industry you can think of. You can see here's a list of industries that we have. So there's a bunch of different ones. And what these are basically like bare bones apps that you can customize after the fact. So say you discovered us through the App Store. Oh, I should mention that too. Most of these apps can be found on the App Store. So if you were to just go into the App Store and type in Farmers Market app, this would come up. And this was basically just like a relatively simple version of an app you can make with us. But the idea is to show you what's possible within the platform. So you can go into the app stores, either Google Play or iTunes, whatever you have, and download this and actually use it. Which is probably how a lot of people discover us that way, so you probably already knew that. But I'm just showing you here, you can use those same apps that you found in the store as a sort of template for you to edit later on. We've been really big on construction lately, so I'm going to go ahead and click the construction one just so you can see what I mean by all that. Even though we're going to be making a new form from scratch anyways. On this screen, it allows you to pick the color, and I usually recommend you pick a color that matches up with your business, especially if the app is going to be in the public's hands. Most of the time it's not, but even then it's easy to do, and it gives a little more sense of ownership, I guess, to the app, knowing that it's your colors and your branding and all that stuff. So I'm just going to pick whatever color for now. You can always adjust that later, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. Alright, so the first time you open the editor, this screen is going to come up, and this is basically just showing you what you can do on the different parts of the editor. I'm going to talk about all this, so it's not really necessary that we go through it. So I'm just going to press exit over here on the side. Alright, so this is going to be your main screen where I guess all the magic is going to happen. But this isn't where you upload your PDF. So the first thing you're going to notice is you're going to have these like extra widgets here that you might not have asked for. The way you get rid of those, simply just click this X over here, or if you want to hide them and possibly use them later, you would just press the hide tab button. I know we're not going to use them though, so I'm just going to delete them out of there. Make things a little bit easier to understand. So you can see right here we already actually have a form. If I click new estimate form, it'll take me into the one that the app comes with. But again, we're going to be making one from scratch, so we don't even need that. Cool, so now we only have the logout tab. Just to run you down, I guess, what all this stuff up here does. Express and Guru mode was the thing I was talking about before, so if you click Guru, it'll take you to the other mode. Like I said, a little bit more difficult to use, but also allows you to do more stuff. For most people, though, Express is more than enough. The preview mode, so HTML5 is going to be exactly how the phone is going to operate, how the app is going to operate when it's on your phone. So if I click here, it's not going to do much now because all we have is a logout tab. Yeah, it's not even letting me do that. But that's what that is. It basically allows you to manipulate the phone the same way you would in person. So if you want to check something and you don't want to upload it to your phone, you can just press HTML5. Some other stuff you can find in here, if you press settings, you can change the name of the app and also the visual style, which is basically the colors. Visual style also has the option of changing where the navigation goes. So this little bit up here, you can have it on the bottom or the side, whatever is better for you. Personally, I like it better on the side. The bottom kind of makes it look like an older app or something from 2005. But if you only have a couple widgets in your app, having it on the bottom may be better for you. So just test out whichever one works. And then, yeah, you have other options here like payment settings, whether or not it's published, how many invited users you have. And I'll talk about this stuff on the bottom afterwards, but that's basically it for as far as all the functions in here. You can also see the help screen has some stuff on how to get started and what exactly you can do. All right, cool. So let's get started on that PDF. First thing you want to do, go to new form, and it's going to ask you if you want to build a form or load PDF. So just for argument's sake, I'll show you what building a form looks like so you can see the difference between this and a PDF. So a form, basically, it allows you to build a brand new form from scratch. So what a lot of people were doing until we uploaded developed the PDF loader, what a lot of people were doing is recreating the form in this way. So say like you have a form and the first thing is it asks you for your name. Well, you could just put a couple of text number fields and then change the titles of those fields to be like first name. Let's go the first row. To be first name, and or this one, obviously you can change it to last name, or you can change it to phone number, whatever you want. So they would just go along and click all these and recreate all the fields. And there's some already built in here. So if like you want address, you can see it already gives you all the fields that you would need for address. Also allows you to put stuff like, a photo taker, which is useful if, say, you're doing an inspection and you want the person doing the inspection to take a picture of whatever it is that they're inspecting. That could be useful. They also have the option to sign, so if they need a sign at the end of the paperwork, um, they can do that as well. A lot of different options here. If you hover over them though, it tells you kind of what it does and how to use it, or at least a recommendation of how you could use it. So that's how you would make one from scratch. But we're going to be doing one not from scratch. We're going to be doing a totally new, I'm sorry, we're going to be doing a PDF we already have. So how do you do that? You want to go ahead and click Load PDF. I don't want to save changes. Doesn't matter. Cool. So once you click Load PDF, behind this you'll notice that a lot of the fields are missing now. And that's because PDF doesn't have access to as many of those fields. But these here should do the trick. I don't think there's any thing you'll run into that you're not able to do with this. I think it's 9 fields. So first thing you want to do, or I guess next thing you want to do, is click to upload or drop the file here. I'm going to click to upload. And this is a PDF that I kind of threw together in Word really quickly. It doesn't have anything fancy on it, but we can use it for example purposes. Obviously, your PDFs are probably going to be way more complicated than this, but it's okay. I'm going to show you how to do kind of the basics here. One thing it is time consuming a little bit, but the good part is once you do it once, you'll never have to do it again. Or if you do have to do it again, you'll just have to make small adjustments and it won't be that bad. It definitely beats getting a pen and paper and doing paperwork all day though, that's for sure. Alright, so these are our options here. So for example, if you wanted to put a field for name, you just want to go ahead and drag and drop, actually hold on, let's do this backwards. Let's go over the fields really quick. So the first field is just text and numbers, and remember you can adjust what this field is asking for no matter what. So that's what that is. The drop-down menu is exactly what it sounds like. It's going to have a list of options similar to like when you're signing up for a website and it asks you to pick the state, and it has a huge list of all the different states. That's what drop-down is. Checkbox is for when you have something that you can have multiple options for, and I'll explain that a little bit more when we get to male, female. Radio is when you only have one option. The rest of these, image, date, time, sign and draw, map, GPS, exactly what it sounds like. This allows you to put an image, this puts the date, this allows you to make a signature, captures location, and the last one is for audio notes. So how does this stuff apply to this? So for name, obviously you could have drop down for a name, but if you're running a form where the name could be just a variable, just anything, then you probably want to use text and numbers. So you literally just grab this and drag and drop it. One thing you should keep in mind is that this box is going to be very tiny for the person that's using the phone. So you want to try to make it as big as possible so that it's easy to click. Me personally, I miss all the time when I'm clicking on stuff, so having it big is a huge plus. So the way you would do that, similar to like how you would make a window bigger on a computer, just go to the corners and you can extend it. You make it as big or small as you want. One thing to also remember is that the size of the text at the end when you output the form is going to be relative to how big you make this box. So if you make it huge, the text is going to be huge. Normally on forms though, I've noticed that a lot of the stuff is boxed out, whereas this one's kind of like an open page. Most forms will have like name and then a box where you can put the name, address, and then a box where you can put the address and so on. So the best thing to do really is just make it the same size as that box. Alright, so moving on. Address, same thing. You want you can either have it as map GPS, and this will you can actually capture addresses. So if you're at like a location and you want to just capture that address, you can just use this, or you can enter a custom address into this. So map GPS works pretty good for the address fields. So gender, obviously you can only be one or the other. You can't be both. So I would use a radio button here. The cool thing about radio buttons is that if they're on the same axis or close to the same axis, the system will automatically know that only one of them can be selected. Again, you want to make them a little bit bigger because it's going to be really hard to click on your phone, especially if you have a bigger phone. The resolution is going to be even smaller. So I like to make them a little bit bigger. And you'll see once I upload this on my phone, which I'll show you later, that it only allows me to click one or the other, but not both. Checkbox, though, allows me to click both. So I'm just going to put this here just so you can see what the end result looks like on the phone. But that's what checkbox does. It allows you to have multiple things. So if you're like, what diseases do you have? And you have a list of, I don't know. But if you have a list of diseases, you can just click off whichever ones you have. So the next one, drop-down example, is literally just this. I'm just going to go ahead and put the drop-down here. What I really wanted to show you guys is how to manipulate the options that you have. So all you would have to do is go over here where it says values. You just want to click whatever your different options are. So if you have, you know, strawberries, bananas, and oranges are your three options. You click apply. So one thing I want you to realize with the drop-down example, or the drop-down menu field, is that the first option is always going to be the default. I spelled it wrong. It's always going to be the default. So in order to have this so that there's no option as a default, you would have to make sure that the first value is blank. And you can add the first value to, you know, wherever you want on the list. Really, it doesn't matter, right? So if the first option is blank, then the default of the drop-down field will be blank. So that's something to keep in mind too. It's not going to automatically do that, and it does make the form look a little bit cleaner, and it's a little less confusing so that people will know, okay, this field isn't filled out. I have to click it and click something else. All right, so moving on, just to show you what image and logo does. I can't show you through here, but when I show you on the phone, you'll realize, you know, what it is this does exactly. So we have image logo, date and time, which obviously is just going to record the date and time. This is useful if you want to make sure that people are where they're supposed to be at the right time, because date and time just logs whatever time it is on the phone. Map GPS I showed you already. Sign and draw. So this actually allows people to put a signature. And the bigger the better. It'll give you more space to do the actual signature. So like to leave that one a little bit big. And then audio, pretty simple. It's just a voice note. For some people, it's a little bit easier to just talk into the phone rather than just having to write out the entire form or entire report or whatever it is they're talking about. Especially for like field workers who might have their hands tied, they could just press the button and hold the phone close to them, and they could just talk while doing whatever it is they're doing. So another useful feature to have. And that's pretty much it. That's all the fields that you can have for a PDF. So now I'm going to show you how to get this on your phone so you can test it out and see if what you've been making is something that you can actually use. So before we do any of that though, I have to save my work, and the way I would do that is by clicking save and run up here. All right, and then just enter whatever application name you want. I was talking about Fruit earlier, so I'll name this the Fruit app. Give it a second, sometimes it takes a while. So once I save, I want to get out of here. You can save your changes again. I'm paranoid, so I'm going to do that. Cool. App has been saved is good. Alright, so now we have multiple widgets here. Another thing I wanted to show you is that you can move these widgets around. If you want to add more widgets to this, all you have to do is click new widget, and you can see we have a whole library of different things you can add to your app, whether it be map, social channels, customer feedback, business cards, postcard, catalogs, HTML and JavaScript plugins. You get the idea. We have a bunch of different options. And some options even have like multiple options within that option. So you can have like log in with a background image, log in with a company logo, log in with description. So there's a lot of different ways you can manipulate the platform to make an app for you. But we're going to keep it simple. All I want to show is my one PDF form, because that's what I'm going to be working with. And so where do we go from here? Oh, that's not me. And so where do we go from here? So you have your options are on the bottom are save and run device, invite users, and publish. So these three things, this one is the exact same thing that I was doing inside the form editor where it just saves the device. This is going to become useful later, but right now it might not seem like that big of a deal. Invite users is exactly what it sounds like. You can invite different people to test your app out. This box right here is where you would input all the different emails. So like say I wanted to invite myself and someone named Bob and another guy named Charlie. I would separate each of those names by pressing enter. So they have to be spaced out by at least one line. And then I just press add. You can see down here all the emails that I sent, that I need to send an invite to are showing up. One thing to keep in mind, you see how it says not sent here? It's not going to send these emails. This is just a queue list. It's not going to send these emails unless you press invite down here. So make sure you do that. If you're having problems with them not receiving the invites, that could be the reason why. Also, another thing I wanted to note is that if you have a lot of emails that you're working with, say you have a huge list, you can actually just upload that Excel file, upload that in the form of an Excel file, and it'll populate this list, excuse me, with all the different emails. So a little shortcut there. But yeah, that's how you would get, like, say if you wanted your associate to try out the app that you just created to see if it does work for them. This is how you would do it. But I'm not going to do that. I definitely don't want to send myself or the imaginary Charlie or Bob an email. So I'm just going to press cancel. And the last button that I haven't talked about on this whole thing right here is publish. Probably one of the most important buttons. So it's going to ask you again, do you want to save this before publishing? I'm going to press yes, why not? Alright, so these are your three options when you want to publish. You have the option for a public app, private app, and HTML5. I'm actually going to work backwards here. It's a little bit easier. So HTML5 is for people that want to have this form on a separate tab on their computer, like a whole new web page. I can show you what that looks like really quick. Oh, actually, I can't show you. So PDFs don't work on HTML5 yet, but the other type of forms do. So something to keep in mind, if you are doing a PDF form, this isn't going to work with HTML5. But it will soon, just not yet. So that's how you would do how you would make a URL that contains your web app. Private app is for people that are only going to use it internally. So you want to use this app with multiple people, but you don't want it on the Play Store or the iTunes Store because it's an app specifically for your company. So private app, you would just invite the users that you want to use, and that's how those people would get the invites for the invitation for the app. Most of the time, this is going to be what people use. And the good thing about publishing private is that you don't need any other extra expenses. So you can try out your app as much as you want before you finally push it all the way through. The last one is public app, and this is for people that are going to be making apps that are specifically for the App Store. So say you're in the restaurant business and you want kind of like a marketing tool, then publishing it as public is probably your best bet. Say you own a small retail store and you want to have a catalog app, also you want to publish that publicly because you're not going to be able to invite all the users that are going to be going in and out of your store all the time. So that's, I guess, my best explanation about these three. Most of the time you want private, and like I said, you're able to test out as many times as you want the app that you create if you always publish private without having to pay anything. So let's go there. It's going to tell you, hey, there's no invited users for this app, and that's okay because I don't want any. So I'm just going to press no there. And now we're ready to run the app on your device. Cool. So this is going to be the last part of this tutorial. I'm going to go ahead and pull up a program on my phone that allows me to show you what the app is going to look like when you're running it on your device. So give me 1 second because I have to open it. I don't have it open. All right. Oh no, my license key expired. That sucks. cool. So I'm going to have to show you the other way. I'll fix that for the next webinar. If you guys want to come to the second one, or you can check out one of my older webinars. I do have it working there. Alright, so anyways, how you would get this onto your phone. It's pretty easy. You're just going to go to either the Play Store or the iTunes Store. So like say I went to the Google Play Store. So pull this up on your phone, same way you download an app any other day. Type in Snappy, and the first option that comes up is going to be the Snappy app. So that's the guy you want. Just go ahead and install this app, and then this screen is going to come up. All you have to do here, log in with your credentials, and then this screen is going to come up, and this is going to show you a list of all your apps that you have on your account. If you've been following this tutorial, you should only have one app, so you would click into that. Presto, this will show up. And that's pretty much it. Really easy to do. It's the same process if you're using it on iTunes. Just type in Snappy in the search bar. It should be the first option that comes up. Install it, pop in your credentials, then this screen comes up with your list of apps. You click into the one that you're using, and you're good to go. I guess that concludes the tutorial. Sorry I wasn't able to mirror the phones for you. I'm going to have to get that working for this afternoon. I do see we have someone in here. If you do have any questions, now would be a good time to ask. I'll stick around for a couple more minutes, so just let me know. And thanks for dropping by and checking out the webinar. Do appreciate it. If you do come up with any questions later on, just go ahead and email support@snappy.com, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible.